In the summer of uncertainty at Manchester United, one thing remained among the fans. Some wanted the manager in, some wanted the manager out. But Ruben Amorim remained. And one thing that the people wanted was back him in the transfer window. And the Glazers, INEOS, they come together and said, we're going to give you most of what you want. Benjamin Sesko arrived from Leipzig. Matheus Cunha arrived from Wolves. Mbeumo arrived for Brentford. And finally, a keeper in Le Mans arriving to displace Anana and Bayinde. But what do we rate the window out of 10? Well, let's talk about it. Manchester United. The club I love. The club I adore. The club that I think can finish in the top 4. Do you agree? Because I'm not just saying it. I'm being real with it. Man United have seen Manchester City, the rivals, lose 2 of their games already. Chelsea, 7 points. Tottenham, I was there. Bournemouth destroying them. Newcastle, signing new players. Will it work? Aston Villa, desperate trouble. When you look at the top 4 race, other than Arsenal and Liverpool, there's 2 spots up for grabs right now. Right now. Don't call me crazy. Don't call me mad. Right now. Manchester United have 1 game a week. And they've sorted out some of the problems. But are those problems that they're sorted out enough? Are they enough to get Manchester United into top 4? Probably not. But let's talk about the window. Because first of all, it is myself, Brian Mbeumo, that came in from Brentford. Manchester United have been crying out for pace. Man United have been crying out for an attacker that can take on players, get in behind, stretch the pitch, and most importantly, find the back of the net. It was under 45 goals that Manchester United scored in the Premier League last season, which is a travesty, by the way. An absolute disaster when you think that's just over a goal a game. Not good enough for a team of Manchester United's quality. Also, the fans, the stadium, and what people believe when they watch this football club. So we had to go out there and get a player that come in and represented the Premier League, who was proven in their prime and ready to come in and make an instant impact. And we chose Brian Mbeumo, the Brentford attacker that got 20 goals in the Premier League last season, including penalties. But one thing about Brian Mbeumo is he's remained consistent. He's been getting better. He is one of the best right wingers in the league, and we've seen that. He was linked to replace Mo Salah. So when you're looking at a player like Brian Mbeumo, who we know was destined for big things, he was either going to end up at an Arsenal or a Liverpool or a Chelsea or a Tottenham or a Newcastle. We've beat our rivals to the signature of the talented Cameroon international. And look, I've been happy so far of what Brian Mbeumo has done. He's got his first goal on the weekend, which I feel like you need as a Manchester United player. When you come in signing for such a big fee of over 60 million, you're coming in as the main catalyst of the transfer window. You know that the pressure's on. You know that, as a Man United supporter, you want to go out there and do the best you can. And Brian Mbeumo finally got his first goal for the football club in a big win over Burnley, which was much needed before the international break. But it's not just about the goal. That will be the weight off his shoulders now. Hopefully he can go out, impress and enjoy himself and get more goals. And hopefully it follows on. But for me, it's the dynamic in the attack now that Brian Mbeumo has added in terms of the running in behind, stretching the pitch. We saw it against Arsenal a number of times. We saw it against Fulham a couple of times, but we saw it against Burnley a lot of times. And that is something that we haven't had in the past few years. And it's not just having that. It's having someone that can do that with the end product and the quality. Now, Mbeumo was lucky not to get more than 1 goal. He had some great shots that were just wide or the keeper saved them. But it's also the unselfishness, his decision-making. Squaring the ball for Ahmad. He's a team player, Brian Mbeumo. He knows his role. He hugs the touchline. He really wants to work with the coach and improve Manchester United and get us up the table. And it was a signing for me that had to happen. There's not many better right wingers out there right now who could come into Manchester United and give us exactly what we need. And it's not just, the pace and scoring the goals. It is knowing the Premier League. It is being proven, having that reliability, that consistency. And that is what Brian Mbeumo gives Manchester United. So for me, it was a signing that had to be made. It was a signing that had to be done. And it's a signing that I can really see working out. And I think out of all the signings in the attacking department, I'm going to say it earlier, I think he'll be the best one because he will bring the most returns. And that is what people will look for. Over to the other number 10. Matheus Cunha. Now, if you said to me we need to sign Cunha or Mbeumo, I would personally have gone with Cunha. Just because for me, Manchester United have been crying out for someone with the fight, the passion, the ball carrying ability, and the ability to score and create. But the ball carrying ability of Matheus Cunha is a game changer. Manchester United have just not had players that can run. Bruno Fernandes cannot run. Kobe cannot run. Agate can't run. Casemiro can't run. Man United have had attackers in this team that simply just can't run with the ball and take you from this side of the pitch to the other side of the mic. And that's what I need with Matheus Cunha, especially when you're playing these big six teams. He's the type of player that you want for the big games. Matheus Cunha won't stand out against the teams you're expected to beat people. I'll be honest with you. When we dominate possession and teams are more pen back, I think Cunha might struggle in moments like that because he's not that type of player that has the greatest close control and able to sort of play in them little pockets. The best what we saw of Cunha at Wolves was running into space, running on the transition, taking moves from the other side of the pitch to the other. But when I watch Manchester United, other than Garnacho, who's left the club, but his end product was poor, we've never had someone that can do that in the last 2-3 seasons. Matheus Cunha was a must-buy. In his peak now at 26, 27, Brazilian international, proven in the Premier League, the catalyst for Wolves last year and saving them with Vitor Pereira, the new coach. Matheus Cunha had to come to this football club. And we've already seen in our hardest game of the season so far, which was Arsenal, Cunha was the standout attacker. Why? Because Arsenal had quite a lot of the ball. Why? Because they are a top team. Why? Because we had to defend at time and then attack and be quick and use them individual moments and the special qualities that Cunha has, the twists and turns, the ball carrying. Cunha was amazing in that game. And that just showed everyone of why we signed that type of player. Because without Matheus Cunha, Man United would have got beaten more heavily, I think, because we didn't have the outlet. We didn't have someone like him who can take the game by the scruff of the neck. And I don't want to call him a luxury player because he isn't a luxury player. He's a good player, but he definitely is a luxury player when it comes to them big six games, especially away from home as well, where we might be a bit more dominated and we need to rely on players like him to thrive and shine. And we've seen him do that in Wolves when they've played against the bigger teams. He's taken the game by the scruff of the neck for them. He is the reason why they get up the pitch. He's the reason why they score, create chances. And I can't wait to see Matheus Cunha thrive at Manchester United Football Club. I really hope that him and Mbeumo can build that connection that make us a force, that can get us back competing for the top four. Because we're not signing them at 30, 31, 32. The mistakes we've made in the past with other signings since Ferguson left. No, we've gone out and signed two of the best Premier League proven attackers in the league in their peak. And we've got that job done. I love the Mbeumo and Cunha signings. And I really think they can help Man United score more goals. They can get the fans back on side and they can help Ruben Amorim get the club back on track. And that is a hope. I want this manager to turn it around. I want Man United to win games. I'm not Ruben Amorim out. I'm not going to do all that. I want the manager to turn it around. He speaks well, but he can be stubborn at times. But now, let's focus on the Man City game and trying to win that because Mbeumo and Cunha will be two big players when it comes to that game. So that's the two attackers. You then go over to the striker. Benjamin Sesko, but was he the number one choice? I don't think he was. I don't think Benjamin Sesko was the number one choice. A striker that's young, 21 years of age, I believe, 22 years of age, never scored more than 13 goals in a league season in the Bundesliga for Leipzig, full of potential, full of if, buts, and maybes. And that is why when it comes to Mbeumo and Cunha, my level of energy was high. With Benjamin Sesko, I just don't know. Because we signed Rasmus Højlund, we signed Joshua Zirkzee. I actually like Zirkzee. I think he's a good player, and I hope he gets more chances this season. Because at the end of last season, he was starting to show what he signed for. Rasmus Højlund hasn't worked out. He's now left the club. But Man United have again gone with the angle of signing a young striker. A young striker who's unproven and a young striker that we've got to hope works out. He's wanted by Newcastle. They wanted Ekitike as well. He went Liverpool. They wanted Sesko. He's come to us. So they've ended up with Woltmada and obviously Johan Visser. But I look at Woltmada and I maybe think that Woltmada was better than Sesko as an option. He was cheaper. He can dribble with the ball, drop in, link it up a little bit better. I just don't know about Sesko. The first few games, he's not been amazing. But Man United haven't been amazing. He hasn't got the best service. I don't think the team know how to play with a striker, and he hasn't been really match fit. But Sesko is a striker that you look at the market right now. There was Kolo Muani, Goncalo Ramos, Ekitike was there. Obviously, Isak was there, Gyökeres. The market isn't amazing. Victor Osimhen obviously went Galatasaray. I personally would have went for Victor Osimhen, but the wages, I understand that with the club and the philosophy and the angle they're trying to go down, it didn't work. It wasn't feasible with the money. So that's why that one was ruled out. He would have been my first choice. If not, I did want Ekitike because I can see already what he brings to Liverpool. I like a striker that can link it up, run in behind, do a bit of everything. And I'm hoping Sesko can do that because right now he looks a bit slow and languid, a bit more like that Mandzukic type. Tall, wants it into his feet, quite slow. But I know that he can be quick over long strides in behind, but we need to get him in them dangerous moments. But Man United did go out and get a striker, and that is what fans wanted. That is what fans demanded. And if you said Sesko at the start of the window, people would have said yes, because a lot of teams in Europe wanted him. A lot of teams in Europe were interested in Benjamin Sesko. So we can't go out there now and say, no, I didn't want him or he's crap. I'm not going to do that. He wasn't my first preferable choice, but I'm not going to turn my nose up at Benjamin Sesko because at his age and the traits he has physically, good in the air, can run in behind for a tall guy, you know, there is a lot of upside that if it does work out, you've got a very good striker for many years to come. So I got to keep it kind of short and sweet on Sesko because, you know, it's a let's see what happens. I feel like with Cunha and Mbeumo, I know what I'm going to get. With Sesko, I don't quite know. So will Amorim get the best out of him? Will the team facilitate to Sesko? Will Sesko be able to get the best out of himself? We'll have to all wait, Manchester United fans. And then finally, people, we have a new goalkeeper from Belgium, coming in as a 23-year-old young player, Seny Lamons from Royal Antwerp. I like the price. That's the first thing I will say. I like the 18 million fee. I'll take that. Because I think today's market, 18 million for a young player, if it doesn't work out and you sell him, you'll probably recoup the money. But I really hope this works out. I'm praying that this works out because Manchester United needed a goalkeeper before this window closed. By India, you've tried. Unfortunately, you're not good enough. Onana, I don't want to see you wear the shirt again. Man United cannot go this season without buying a goalkeeper because the confidence a goalkeeper can instill to the defense and the rest of the team is remarkable. You know, it makes such a difference. People don't realize when you have a goalkeeper that makes mistakes, Aaron Ramsdale, you know, for example, you know, even De Gea, when he first came in, got dropped making mistakes. Onana, the mistakes he's made when he's come in. You know, when Man City changed their ways and they got Claudio Bravo and it didn't quite work out, they said, forget him, we're getting Edison in. You know, teams realize when you don't have a great keeper, you have to make changes because mistakes leads to goals. That leads to drop points. That leads to nervousness in the back four or back five. And you can't have that at a football club. So I'm really hoping that Le Mans works out. I've not watched him, so I can't give you any analysis on him whatsoever. But surely it can't be hard to be better than Onana and Bayinde. And if it does work out that he's better and he's comfortable, he can come out and claim crosses, be dominant in the air, you know, just have presence. Just have consistency. A 7 out of 10 every week. I'm not asking for much. Come out and claim crosses, dominate your area, make some good saves and be a 7 out of 10 every week. And if you do that, Manchester United improve. It's simple as that, people. So I'm very happy with signing the keeper. The only gaping hole, and like this video, by the way, and subscribe and get your comments in. The only gaping hole that I could have is two. I'll probably say we could have done with another fullback. I think Ahmad is good, but there's some games that will work for him, some games he's not. Dalot is okay. Dorgu, for second season / first full season in the Prem, unproven still, got talent, got ability, going to get better, hopefully. Mazraoui, I really like him. Can he stay fit? But when you look at natural fullbacks and you have that back five, I just don't know if Man United have the quality there. We have players that can play there, but when we're talking star quality, I just think we could have done with one more fullback. But, you know, beggars can't be choosers. But the big one is midfield. For Manchester United not to get a midfielder in this summer, that hurts. That was the one that got me. Because Manchester United with Kobe, Agate, Casemiro, Bruno is sorry, it's not good enough. Man United will not be in games this season where we ultimately control games because we've got no one that can control games from the number 6 role. We've got no passes in there. Agate and Casemiro, destroyers. Kobe's not a 6. Bruno, we know he can't really retain the ball the best. So Man United, unfortunately, are going to be involved in games now where there's going to be momentum swings. There's going to be a bit of chaos. It's going to be a bit end-to-end because we've got no one like a Michael Carrick, who I would really love, Adam Morton, to come in and just say, calm down. I'm going to control the tempo. I'm going to take the game by the scruff of the neck and play it at my tempo, my pace. And Manchester United, unfortunately, in the big games or even little games or even throughout the whole season, like I've just said, will fall short because of the midfield. The midfield is the bread and butter. That's the orchestra. It links with defense. It links with the attack. And if you don't have the best midfield, you're going to always be susceptible to counter-attacks, to being passed through the lines, to being got at. And the defense are going to have to work so hard this season to make sure that they ensure that this team can win football matches. Because look, Casemiro can play one game a week and I'm cool with it. He can do a job for 60, 70 minutes. I don't disrespect Casemiro. I understand that his legs are going and he's not my type of 6. So if you've got Bruno in there, you know, you need that person that can be a bit calm on the ball, maintain possession. And we don't have that with Agate and Casemiro. Kobe, unfortunately, is competing with Bruno. So we can't even, you know, we have to drop one or the other. Bruno has to come out and Kobe can play. But Kobe and another midfielder would have been brilliant. That would have been my first choice if I'm honest. But the captain is going to play. So, you know, I hope Bruno Fernandes has a good season and he can do big things for this football club. But the midfield is a problem. And the only solution I can tell you, Man United fans, is I think we've saved the money to go big next season. We didn't want to bring in a midfielder for the sake of bringing in a midfielder when we want to go big and maybe get 1 or 2 next year. So let's hope I'm right. The midfield makes it an issue. So the window for me is a 7 out of 10. We've got 2 Premier League proven players. We've got our striker and we've transformed the front 3. But more could have been done at the back. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are and make sure you like and subscribe.